gonna give in now. I just gotta live this now. I begin to beam and I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in the ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the whip. Cause I am just up on the journey, you just know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. July 21st, 2022. Is there a switch being hit? We're going to listen to it from the horse's mouth. My name is Coach JV. I am the top health, mindset, crypto, and business coach in the world. Remember, what you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. What you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. Now, Warriors, it's time to jump into the 3T Warrior Academy. Tribe is going to be your biggest catalyst as you go into the biggest collapse in financial history. I truly believe we're going to go through one of the biggest recessions, all by design, to bring in a brand new monetary system. They're moving us from freedom to safety, right? Freedom to safety. Go back and watch my videos 2.5 years ago and look the step-by-step process through the research I've been doing on where they're taking us. By 2025, we'll be operating on distributed ledger technology. Your banks will be custody your cryptocurrency, and there'll be a few small percentage of the population that hold on like a tick on a dog and ride out this regulatory disaster as they bring in the new monetary system. So today we're going to listen to a video from Powell, Lagarde, and people from the ECB, so the BIS, okay, also the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. It's going to be a longer video, but we want to dive into this. We want to listen to the words of the channel. I want to give a shout out to Cameron Scrubs on TikTok. He found this video, or a clip of this video, of Christine Lagarde. I'm going to take you a little bit deeper into the video, but it's important to understand that this is all by design. You're going to listen to what this gentleman on the screen says. Jerome Powell says we talk frequently. They're all locking arm in arm. It's not one's working on their thing. They're all working together to bring in the new monetary system. So we're going to listen to about a 4-minute video. Then I'm going to take you through the facts, figures, numbers, logic. And then we're going to wrap it up with Brad Garlinghouse talking about regulation after talking about Davos and regulation. All right, let's jump right in.
Chair Powell, Mr. Carson was talking about a gray box. What's your gray box? Is there something that you wish you knew that would help in setting monetary policy? Only one thing.
Yeah, no, I'd go back to the same thing really, which is what did we get wrong? And that really was looking at these supply side issues and believing that they would be resolved relatively quickly. And that, by that I mean there were going to be vaccinations, everyone would get vaccinated, so the millions of people who dropped out of the labor force would come right back in, so wages wouldn't be under such pressure. That didn't happen. For a range of reasons, it didn't happen. In addition, the bottlenecks and the shortages haven't been alleviated yet. And then on the back of that comes the new shock in the form of the war. But it wasn't something wrong with our models, because it wasn't in the models at all. It was a question of how to assess the persistence of these supply side shocks. And I do think that there'll be, to Augustin's point, and there is a lot of work going on to get smarter about the supply side. In the nature of it, though, it was a deep in the tail kind of a risk, and those are very hard to predict and assess when they come.
Yeah. Because monetary policy is not an exact science, how often do you actually speak on the phone to exchange ideas? Do you call each other and say, like, well, I've done it this way?
So first, let's break down what they just talked about, or what Jerome Powell just talked about. He said all of a sudden with the C word, he thought everybody was going to take the V, right, come flooding back into the workforce. They knew that wasn't going to happen. They knew there was going to be resistance on that, but that was their first shot to move you into your homes, to separate the middle class down to the working poor and separate the rich and the working class, right? So the 4 richest people in the world became much wealthier, the 4 tech billionaires, right? He also talked about supply chain shocks, which is a supply chain narrative to move us into a blockchain technology to move supply chain. We need a fix for supply chain. Think about this. We need a fix for monetary policy and how money moves. But listen to what they say. Do you guys talk behind the scenes often?
I can help out. I mean, because part of my job is to be able to attract them to Basel 2 times every 2 months, to have very, very deep and open exchange of views.
We
And
do
we
tell
all
them, but
showed
we're not
up.
going to tell
And
you.
you all show up.
You'll show up. We speak quite often.
Quite a lot, but you're not going to tell me. President Lagarde, the ECB
We speak a lot, but all of them said, we're not going to tell you.
decided to apply flexibility to reinvestments from Friday, July the 1st. What will be the guideposts?
We decided, look, I think if you allow, I'd like to just come back to why that is.
Yeah.
Because I think that this risk of fragmentation that is much talked about is something that is very inherent to the European construction.
Yeah.
And to the fact that we have 19, soon 20, but let's say 19 for the moment, member states that each have their respective fiscal policy, that each have their respective financial markets. And as a result of that, our unique monetary policy has to be transmitted throughout this imperfect market of ours, which has no fiscal union, no monetary union, no capital markets union. And as a result of that, we just have to make sure that our monetary policy stance is actually transmitted throughout the entire euro area. And the two of them, I think I use that word, I don't know if it exists in English, but they are consubstantial. For our stance to be effective, it has to be transmitted throughout, okay? So to do that, if we see that there are unwarranted disruption to that transmission, and if our stance is impaired as a result, we need to take action. And that is the reason we decided that we would use, as of, you're right, Friday, that's what I said yesterday, we would use the flexibility in the reinvestment of our pandemic emergency purchase program redemptions in order to address the potential risk of fragmentation. Second, we also decided, and it's work in progress, so I'm not going to comment.
Okay, this is important. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to tell you what's coming, but it's coming. Watch, check this out.
Upon it, I know that some would like to have details and understand before everybody else, and particularly before the Governing Council, what the details of that instrument will be, but we decided to reinforce our capacity to properly transmit our monetary policy by devising a new tool that will be considered by the Governing Council of the ECB on July the 21st. So don't waste your time asking me for details, criteria, conditions, safeguards. All I said is that it has to be effective, it has to be proportional, it has to include the right level of safeguards. And that's all I will say at this point.
Okay. How do you direct
And
staff?
it will be effective, and it will be proportional, and it will have safeguards, and it will be there, believe me.
So how do you direct staff?
Okay, so she was talking about this, the video, like the context of this is there's something coming, right? There's something coming. They're working on monetary policy. They're working on fixing the infrastructure, right? So they're all raising interest rates right now, all of them. So on July 1st, I think she's the head of the, I'm getting this messed up. She the European Union? No, ECB. I think she's the European Union. Anyways, Christine Lagarde, head of the European Union. Yeah, I think it's, if I'm getting this correct. Okay. So now on July 1st, what they did is they raised interest rates. You know, today, I think that this morning, I think there's going to be an interest rate hike, or they're going to talk about inflation, excuse me, the CPI, consumer price inflation. So now she's talking about this, right? So there's people out there saying that Ripple is what she's talking about, right? She's talking about distributed ledger technology. That's what they're talking about. So they may be implementing the distributed ledger technology. I don't think it's a CBDC or anything like that yet. They're all going to be implementing their CBDC soon. But let's look at who is there, right? So you have the ECB represented there. You have the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, represented there. And then we've been talking about the G20, right? So we're going to break this down. So this is a European Central Bank document with the Bank of Japan. So Stella Joint Research Project of the European Central Banks and Bank of Japan. This was on June 2019. So this was 2 years ago, okay, before the pandemic. So if I hit Ripple, which is on there already, okay. So if I click the search, So if we look here, Ripple is named in these documents, Warriors. Now, I'm not saying they're going to use Ripple because I'm going to show you Project Dunbar. So I'm going to give you both sides of the coin, right? I'm huge on Ripple. You guys know I'm a huge Ripple fan, okay? So this is section 4, page 4, section 212. It says select private sectors. Ripple has developed Xcurrent, which connects financial institutions via a global network of participating entities. RippleNet, Xcurrent is built around ILP, Interledger Protocol, and enables bi-directional communication between participants, entities, and coordination of payments across ledgers. Okay, so they're explaining Ripple and Swift. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because then if you dive into this, and you guys have seen this before, this was back in 2021, I think this announcement was. Ripple launches ODL, on-demand liquidity, with SBI remittance to accelerate the growth, grow cross-border payments from Japan. They're dominating SBI. So with SBI, SBI has 40% and owns 60% and Ripple's 40%. So they're in business with them. Okay. So this is huge. So driven long-term growth trends in foreign workers and cross-border payments, e-commerce in Japan. There is an expected increase in low-value, high-frequency remittances. The Filipino diaspora is currently in the third largest in Japan. In 2020, remittance flows from Japan to Philippines sent by overseas Filipino workers totaled approximately $1.8 billion. On top of that, Japan has one of the largest cross-border payment fees in the world, according to the World Bank. Okay. So what they're working to do is they're working to move money at the speed of light. As they raise interest rates, they destroy the middle class. All countries are going to destroy the middle class, move them down to working poor, right? They're going to need to create financial inclusion. You're going to hear the words even playing field. So that's the European Central Bank talking about Ripple. Okay. We know they're connected to SBI. Now we jump into the BIS, right? So you got the BIS, Bank of International Settlements, represented there. Okay, central banks face key decisions, and interoperability and cross-border payment usage of CBDCs are to fulfill their potential joint report. Okay, for CBDCs to improve cross-border payments, central banks must make fundamental decisions on foreign access on how CBDCs connect across jurisdictions. Well, you just heard from the horse's mouth that all of these people here, you got Christine Lagarde, you got Powell, you got Carstens, Bailey, speak at the ECB, European Central Bank forum here. And they're talking about, we talk every 2 months. We talk frequently. They're all working together to build global regulation around CBDCs and cross-border payments. Now, here's the thing, too. A lot of people say that, she was talking about Ripple, but you do have Project Dunbar, right? So Project Dunbar, the BIS Innovation Hub and central banks of Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, South Africa, developed experimental multi-CBDC platform for international payments. So Project Dunbar developed 2 prototypes for a shared platform that could enable international settlements using digital currencies issued by multiple central banks. Okay. And so we also have, who knows? I mean, Ripple could be part of this. Project Dunbar could be separate. They're saying that this is a competition to Ripple. What we do know, Warriors, is they are moving to distributed ledger technology. Some companies may use Ripple. Some companies may use Project Dunbar. Some people might use JPM coin. Who knows? But we know that JP Morgan is deep with Ethereum through consensus. We know that Ripple is working in companies or in countries all over the world, like Mercury, to boost remittances, time, money savings to South Africa. I showed you the BRICS country. Out of the BRICS countries, I think they have 6 now. There was 5 BRICS countries. Out of 5 of them, 3 of them are using Ripple's technology. Okay. And then we come up to October here. I showed you this yesterday, but G20 watchdogs to propose first global crypto rules in October. This is Bank of England, CBDC task force, terms of reference. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I mean, I'm just going to keep showing you these documents because as people tell you cryptocurrency is going to zero, cryptocurrency is a fraud. And we're going to listen to what Brad Garlinghouse says from his mouth, right? So, don't just take it from me. Listen to what Brad Garlinghouse says about Davos, what they said in Davos about 4 years ago, and what they're saying now about crypto. Okay. So this is all by design to fudge you out of the marketplace. They don't want you in the market, Warriors. They don't want you getting uberly rich right now. So that's why we teach our Warriors, hold the line, don't trip by the dip. Okay. So let's check out what Brad Garlinghouse says.
The SEC coming up with new frameworks for the regulatory backdrop. What do you think the regulation should look like?
Well, first off, I'll say, here in Davos, when I came 4 years ago, crypto is considered a bad word. Today, that is dramatically different. And frankly, our elected officials that are here in Davos are some of the people speaking most aggressively about that. But there's no question that regulation around crypto is still trying to find a solid footing and finding the right posture for the United States. the United States has really been behind other G20 markets like the UK, like Switzerland, like Singapore. They've really been leading in establishing a framework that works for both investors as well as entrepreneurs who are taking advantage of these new technologies and building the next generations of Google and Facebook.
James Freeman.
Brad, hi. A lot of investors may be scratching their heads over what's been happening in this space. Maybe they're seeing a bargain opportunity. For people who are looking at this, though, can you tell us about Tether, the biggest stable coin kind of underlying the trading in a lot of crypto? What is it? What are the assets that are backing Tether?
You know, it's a really good question. And certainly, as you point out, stable coins have been in the news because that was one of the catalysts that really drove the market a couple of weeks ago. One of it, an algorithmic stable coin kind of melted down, if you will. You know, Tether is considered a dollar-backed stable coin. I'm not personally involved with it, so I don't know exactly how they are sharing those financials. But I think now more than ever, the transparency that companies like Ripple have championed across the crypto industry are critical. That transparency for Tether, I think, is to really make sure that people participating, people buying, have access to whatever financial information they need to feel comfortable that, in fact, it is dollar-backed.
So,
Okay, so we're going to leave right there. But notice where he's at, Warriors. Notice where he's at. He's chilling at Davos, the World Economic Forum. So you think Brad Garlinghouse is going to be involved in the World Economic Forum, who is going to change supposedly our whole ecosystem? It's not left, right, up, down, good, bad. This is what's happening, Warriors. The World Economic Forum. Oh, excuse me, my microphone. Sorry about that. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me just jump right in. So if you see where he's sitting in Davos, right? So he's part of the World Economic Forum. Ripple's part of the World Economic Forum. JPM's part of the World Economic Forum. All the large companies are part of the World Economic Forum. It's where the richest people in the world get together. All the billionaires and multimillionaires get together and they discuss our future, sustainability, right? And ironically, we're sitting in a war narrative, a climate change narrative, and an economic narrative. Never in our living history or our grandparents' living history have they gone through that. This is the biggest global shift ever. And I'm going to keep saying the same thing because I know it's coming. And most people are not prepared. But it's going to be the greatest time in human history for the normal, everyday person like you and I to shift our family's timeline in wealth and mental health. Because there's going to be a lot of people that get crushed, Warriors. We're encouraging all our Warriors to get back into our 120-day challenge. We're all launching again on September 12th. We're going to get rocking and rolling in our 120-day challenge because mental health is going to be very, very important, Warriors. They are replacing your jobs to technology. The middle class is getting wiped out. Okay, we're also teaching we created a free business group. If you go to my social media page, actually, I'll link it down below in the description, where we give you exact blueprint on how I built a 7-figure company off TikTok, how I'm building another 7-figure company off of TikTok, and how I went from 4 years ago losing everything to owning 9 companies now in 4 in profit. Okay, 4 in in profit. And so we're teaching people how we're doing this stuff online. It's a whole new game, Warriors. The education system is completely flipped. And I believe that you have the opportunity right now to take control of your money, take control of your sovereignty, take control of your wealth. And we're teaching people for free. You click on there, you get the free blueprint, you get some free training, and then you come into our free group and we help you for free with some high level. We have our own program, but you can come in for free and learn every single week from me and my CFO and my other business partner who helps us run this business. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I'll actually put the description down below to get the free TikTok blueprint, and that'll get you into the free business coaching group. And then if you're not in the Warrior Academy, make sure you get in. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Warriors, rise. Get your shit together. Let's go.